Yeah, hello, and welcome back to the grind. I'm into doors now, and had some successes and had some failures. So had a really nice success putting this bottom door, the bottom of the door was all rusted out. A lot of success putting that on. Then when I went to fix these holes up here, I shouldn't have cut that out prematurely, and it doesn't matter. This showed its face. It's a great big bang and dent that was in there and fixed with, a 1/4 inch or more of Bondo. So I'm going to keep on following through on that, and that'll be coming up soon. But for this video, it's mostly about I welded this up using brass brazing techniques with a MIG welder, and it actually, like, if things work right, if you're careful with it, you don't get any, like I didn't get any warpage at all on this area here. When I started to work up on this area here by filling some holes and things, then this all went warpy, and because of this, and then there's just lots and lots of action there to be fixed. But we'll carry on and persevere, and hopefully I'll be able to get this back to being a door, and one way or the other to be a door, but we'll just see how I can make it out. Like, you can't, there's this behind here, you can't get into it. The only way to get that behind that is then pound it out, is take the door skin off. Anyway, but that's later. This one here, if you want to follow along, you'll see that things went along quite well, and I was quite happy after I finished up this bit of work along here. So, but now it's the next step is to get the rest of the door done. But I've got about an hour, like lots and lots of coverage on it so far. So here you go. Enjoy it all. Stick around. We'll see what's happening, and then come on back next week for more doors, right? Yeah, well, creature from the Black Lagoon here. Anyway, I just put a bunch of Rust-Oleum primer on all the interior metal. I cleaned it off with a wire brush, and then put that stuff on it just to, well, number one, it makes it look a bit better. And then I'll go down and carry on with down below here. We'll lift it up and see. Hang on. See what's going on in the underneath. About there. Now, so this is what I did yesterday. That's all good and hard. I'll take some sandpaper to that. Whoops. Take some sandpaper to this and clean it up. Then I'll see about getting this stuff here put together properly. Anyway, that looks pretty good. I'll just do a bit of sanding on that, and we'll call it good for now. Yeah, how far ahead of you have I got now? So this actually turned out pretty good right here, and I cut out a little bit there, and I just put a patch in behind here, and then I lap welded it on here. Maybe I'll lap weld it on the other side too, and that maybe not, because we'll see. Anyway, so I'll grind this off, see how it looks, and that actually is coming out to my satisfaction so far. Yeah, so this side here, I've got that welded together there, and it worked nice up to about here. And then up here, it just, no matter, like, I've been chasing this hole up to here, and I chased it across to here, so I think I'll just cut that out of there. And there's another hole here, and another bit of damage out here. So I'll just cut that out to the edge and into here, and put a new piece in there. Anyway, so much for getting lucky or not. Now that means I have to take this piece, which I was going to do anyhow, is cut the piece off of there. And somehow make that all come together. Yeah, that's turned out to be pretty ugly. Hey, well, I'll see if I can get it grounded off and see how it looks then. And then this side here, I was able to get this all welded up in there, and then I just have to put a little piece in here to make that all come together. That's all pretty ugly. But it'll come together all right. And I put a little tab of welding there, and I did those couple of plug holes here that weren't finished. Might be another one right there. No, that's plugged. Okay. All right, so now grinding. It's grinding time. Yeah, way ahead of you again. So this is all, I've got that welded and grinded off. I'm going to put body filler in there to smooth that out. I don't want to grind too much more on it. This hasn't been grinded at all, but I've got this back piece all put together, and that's tightened up there. So it's all one solid piece. And I left a little hole right there for drainage, and I left a hole over here for drainage. I might drill that out a bit bigger. And now, let's see if I can fix up this side of it. Actually, it won't be too bad. Not as bad as what I thought. Okay. Yeah, there's a day's work, hey? So this part here, in behind, it's all solid in there all the way over to there. I might have to do a little bit of pounding over there and a bit of welding over there yet. Maybe tomorrow. This part here is, everything's done, all the valance is complete on the outside, and it's complete on the back side here too. That needs some grinding here, but we'll get to that soon, before this life is over. Now, that's actually all right. That came out well. Tomorrow I'm going to put some of this stuff here on it, and that will finish that off and be ready for body work. Good. Okay. That's it for today. See you tomorrow. Yeah, here's something a little bit different. Do you remember from a few years ago, maybe 3 years ago, the Big Ugly was here? Now this is Big Ugly II, because Big Ugly is broken down, and then this is a replacement for the winter, perhaps. It's had some interesting body work done. But the gear shift isn't working on it for some reason. Well, I know what reason. Some rusted all off. And everything else seems to work except no lights or anything. It's a interesting vehicle. I like the door handle is neat. And yeah, more interesting bodywork back here. No lights back here. Anyway, it's a V8 Magnum, so I'm going to get it right underneath here is the problem, and I'll see if I can figure it out. Yeah, so Ugly II. Remember on Big Ugly I had to weld up a bunch of the plow. It was cracked. I'm going to fix that, but this one here is in good shape. But underneath here it's just a rusted mess. And underneath, I'm going under the driver's side. See those nice shiny straps there? I put them on to hold that. I don't know if you can see it, but this thing here is the mounting for the gear shift lever, but it has to go over into here. I don't know if you can see any of this stuff, because I sure can't. Yeah, right up there. Right there. It sort of hooks into a lever there, and it has to push in or else it'll fall out, and then it won't shift gears at all. So this kind of holds it steady, but it still has to be able to pivot on a point up here somewhere, or up here somewhere up there, and not be jammed up. So it's kind of and there's nothing to weld to. It's only wish and a prayer. So right now, you can make some adjustments on the linkage, but right now reverse is neutral. Reverse, if you want to put it into reverse, you put it into park, and you know, that kind of idea. So the gears do work, but you can't put it into park. It won't go into park. anyhow, I'll just leave well enough alone that it's usable for pushing snow around with it, and be able to get the gears to go back and forth. This thing here should be set down lower, I think. Anyway, but that's easy to do later. Okay, that's all on that for today. Gus is going to come over and have a look at it. Yeah, now, here I am. Yesterday, I finished up on that ugly thing. Yesterday, now I put all this in here. So I'm going to take some of the body filler and just make that so it looks a bit better. Smooth that stuff over. Not too worried about the stuff in the middle. And the same out here, I have to do a bit of work on that there. And then, look at that. I've got to do some work on that. There's a dent right there. I'll fix that. And then, a couple of seams here to fill, to, you know, just to put that metal to metal stuff on the seams, and that makes them waterproof. And the same as these seams here. So that, and this, I'll do that body stuff on it. First I'll see if I can just fix that little dent there with a bit of hammer and dolly work. Yeah, there, this stuff here, I've cleaned up now, but I just put a coat of it on here. Leave that alone. I'll also be stuck to my fingers. I covered all any weld seams except for this one that I've missed, but I'll get that next time I have the stuff out. And I covered up the weld seams on the back here. And that just, you know, will make it look more, less ugly, I guess. That's a better word. Less ugly. No, and I'll sand that off a little bit later. There's supposed to be a hole right there that I made a mark there so I can drill that hole back out. And the same on the other side, there's supposed to be a hole. Where at? Right there. And I'll drill that out later after it hardens. Anyway, there, that's good. That's so. Oh, here. I'm gonna call that front valance. Pretty well done. I'll clean it up when that stuff hardens. I'll give it a bit of a sand and clean it up. But that's as far as it gets before I do like body work on the car. This stuff, this filler here, is just for covering, you know, covering your welds, and it makes it waterproof. So that water, the other kind of filler is like Bondo stuff, which is normal. It's got it's porous. So if water gets in from behind, it'll come through and make a bubble on the paint. Like, I'll show you some bubbles. Those are big bubbles, but you know, like sometimes you get just little bubbles on the paint of the car, like this thing here. Can you see that? Yeah, that one. So that's just some water got in behind there, and then maybe it freezes or something and makes that bubble happen in the paint. The paint stretches. But so I got to clean that off, and then that metal to metal stuff is waterproof, so that it doesn't allow that to happen, or can't say it doesn't allow it to happen. It just gives it a little bit more protection, say that way. Okay, anyhow, now next on my project list, that one there, I'm pretty well done with the front end. I don't think there's any more work to do up here. There is a bunch of plug welding to do down in here, which I won't get to yet because I'm not into upside down welding today. But I'm going to take a look at this door, see how bad that is. In fact, I'll take a look at that door all the way along and see it, like it's bad at the bottom. Oh dear. Don't know if I have to take the door right off. Maybe I should just take the door off, see if I can work on it on the bench here. That's likely what I'll do, is I'll pull the door off, but because I'm pretty sure no wires going to it. Then I'll be able to put it back on, and when I put it back on, I'll get it adjusted right to be the right distance down. Anyway, will that be next? Will I take off the door, or will I go to the back and take the bumpers off? There's quite a bit of work to do back here, and I should have to I should drop the gas tank. I don't know if there's any gas in it. Sounds like it's pretty empty. Pretty near the same as what was on. Pretty near exactly the same as what's on the 635s for holding it together and everything like that. Well, not much holding it together. Yeah, so what'll I do? And then it needs to be, it's dark underneath here, I know. Like this thing here needs to be built out to the right place. So, what? Oh, it's always a wondering what to do next. Well, I'll do something. I'll make up my mind, then I'll show you. Yeah, time for a new task, clean up in here. So I swept the floor and tidied up a little bit. It's difficult to get around those edges there because there's too much junk in the way. But one of these warm days I'll open up the big door and clean up everything in there. But that'll be later. Now I've decided I'm going to take that door off and see what I can do about fixing that door. That'll be the next challenge. Yeah, there's the hinges. That one there moves easy. This one here is not as easy. But not the first time that door's been off. So this is the inside. Don't know what all this pink stuff is about. But the plastic isn't much good anymore. There's nothing wrong with the inside of the door. Everything in the inside is all right. It's just the outside is, outer skin is a little bit. And this one here, down here, not as bad as what I thought it would be. Not great, but not bad. So we'll get it fixed up and make it look good. And all the way along up here is good. Up and up. So just a matter of trying to get it, like that's crash guard inside there, so you can't get to the skin to try and pound out any dents that I will make some dents. That's a guaranteed. But everything here is here. That's, I guess that won't go anywhere. And the window mechanism works okay. It went up and down. And I presume that part, the vent window will open and close. So I'll put the car up there. Yeah, I'll put the car up and I imagine that door will be off and on about 10 times before I get everything sorted out. Anyway, I'll put the car up and then bring in a couple of sawhorses that I can lay the door down on, and then see if I can get to work and make it right again. Okay. Yeah, so these whatever you call these things, hooky things for hanging on to the trim here, they just, like, you pop the center out of them, just push the center out. I drilled them out, but I think they just push through. And then that, see how that's held on there? So then I've got these plastic tools for this kind of stuff. And they just pop right out. This one here maybe not so easily. Alright, it'll turn. It should pop out of there, right? There. And those are still, I think, serviceable, but we'll see. There's a bend in the door here. I don't know how I can get in there and unbend that. Might be able to reach in from the other side. I'm not sure. There, that's off. Anyway, I'll save those things. I'm pretty sure that's not supposed to be a bend there. Because I do have some centers that I can push back into those. And then I have a, let me see, over here. All that stuff goes in there. Did I get them all? Yeah. I think they're all in there now. Now, I do have some some sort of disc. These things here. To take the paint off a little bit easier than now. I think everything up above here is all right. Don't know how this is held on. I'll just have to check into that. But I'll take the paint off down here. That's going to be the most difficult. Second, this will be difficult too. I don't know how that's bent. See, I don't know how. There's no path in there to straighten it either. I may be able to pull it out. Let's just put a puller in there and pull it out a bit. We'll just see how I can do. First I'll clean it all off, then I'll see what I have to do. Yeah, creature from the Black Lagoon is back. You know, these aren't, well, they're bad. But not as bad as what I thought they might be. This one here is. So let's clean off a bit more of that. I'll show you. Noisy. Yeah, so lots of dust. But not as bad as what I anticipated, but not as good as what it could have been. Anyway, that's I think a problem for tomorrow because it's quitting time today. I'll let the dust settle out of here and come back tomorrow. So, see you later. Yeah, so here's the inside, or the other side of the door. And going around, down at the bottom here, there's rust. So, and I'm pretty sure that the bottom stretch of that door should be replaced, but mostly not bad. So I'll clean this off, and then I'll think about taking this lip off of here, which you can just sort of grind that lip off and then it's done. Yeah, there I took this grinder, right? Just went along, like along the edge here, but not to go right through it. I just wanted to make it so I could bend it back, and then I can clean up this stuff here and see what I have to do. Mostly that looks all pretty good. Down here, there's a couple of holes that need to be repaired, but that I can do. Okay, then now I'm going to clean that off, and likely this whole lower lip on the outside has to be done. But I've got some ideas for that that'll be coming later. Okay. I'll clean this up and then see what we can do. Yep, okay, so most of this is alright. There's a little bit of pitting like right there, and a little bit of pitting in there, but I'm not going to fuss about that too badly. I'll see if I can clean it up on the other side and once I've cut the other side off, then I can have a real good look at this, because I really don't want to change that if I don't have to, because that's the original line, right? Now, next is I did some little bit of judicious pounding on this here to make it go down. Then I could get something in there and I put it in, but I think I made more mess than I really should have, but I'll see if I can fix that. Okay, I'll turn it back over and have a look at the other side again now. There now. So from this line, I don't know if you can see that line, I scratched a line in the paint there, 7 millimeters down to this edge, all the way along that line there. So that will define where the edge is. So the first thing I'll do is I'll fix the bottom of it here, if I can. Then I'll try and fix these things here. Now I have a couple of ideas about that. Watching the interweb, as usual, on YouTube last night, I saw that they were talking about brazing, and brazing with TIG, and it doesn't get as hot, right? So that's okay, but I don't do TIG very well because my hand's pretty shaky. And so then I carried on, and I found out that, hey, indeed, you can get welding wire that's copper silicone, which is what you use for, basically you use for brazing. And brazing it's a different type of welding. Like when you're welding with steel on steel, then it actually, the two pieces become one piece. But when you're brazing, it's sort of just adhering one to the other. So it's not like, not the same process 100%. It's more like heavy duty glue. And so it doesn't require as much heat, so perhaps there'd be less chance of the stuff to shrink on you and warp all over the place. So I'm not going to do any welding in this until I get some of that kind of wire. And I've got this machine here, which I got this machine so I could do aluminum welding. And don't you know, it's got this MIG sink here that you press the button for. And then it shows you how to set it up. You got this part in here, that part down in there, that part down in there. And so then it asks you these questions. What do you want to do? You want to do iron or steel? You want to do stainless steel? You want to do aluminum? FCAWS. I wonder what the hell that is. Don't know what that is. But then it's got this copper silicone stuff here. So that will be fine. Then the welding diameter is 0.8 millimeters, which is, likely I've got 0.6 millimeters, but I can't change that. There's the only choices you get is those two. That'd be like 25 and that'd be 30, or 30 and 35 or something like that. Then 2T, that's when you press trigger and hold it to keep on welding. 4T is press trigger, release, and it'll be welding. So if you want to weld a long way, you just press that 4T and away it goes. Then ask you what thickness of metal you want. So you got 0.8 millimeter is about, well, 1 millimeter is say 19 gauge, 19 or 20 gauge. So that'd be about what I want to use, I think. Now you can change that later in your settings. And then it gives you these settings. So the weld way is MIG sync, which is what we're doing. Mode is 2T. Can you see any of this? Mix is, the gas is a mix. But in this case it's straight argon for doing aluminum or copper silicone. You need straight argon, which is in that tank there. Diameter of the welding rod is 0.8 millimeters. Thickness of the metal is 1 millimeter. Then it says 3.5 millimeters per minute, 3.5 meters per minute on the spool, and the voltage is 13.3. Now the guy on the internet last night, he was welding at about 17 volts, and I forget what he had for spool speed. But if you put more spool speed on, it heats it up. Put more volts on, it heats it up. Anyhow, and this part here, this is inductance is 4. Excuse me, I don't really know what that means, but that's all right. You can change it if you want, but I'll leave it at what it said in the beginning there. And then you can change any of these things like the voltage. You can change it up and down. But in this white area is where it's recommended for what you're doing. 3.5 in the white area is recommended. So anyway, that seems to be, this machine will do it. And the other thing this machine has is got a fairly short, like a welding cable. This welding wand thing is much shorter than my other welder, which has steel in it. but it's got a Teflon liner in there, so that makes it so this oddball materials will run okay. So otherwise it's just the same in here, like well, in the side here, this is aluminum stuff on there right now, but it's all the same. This thing here, I don't know what that is, backburn, which someday I'll figure out what that is. And this button here is either spool gun or wire feed. So it's a fairly, like, it's a pretty good little machine, this thing. I don't know what the hell that is. Well, that's your wrench for everything. Comes with its own wrench. Yes, I knew that, but I forgot. And then this sets, like, so it's set right now for aluminum welding, and copper silicone is pretty well the same. It's a pretty soft material. And that might make it so that thing there gets welded up without ruining it. We'll just see. Well, it'll be a nice experiment anyhow. So for now, I'll cut out the pieces. Whoops. You don't want to look at me. I'm ugly. I'll cut out the pieces that I want to put on here and sort of, you know, partially fit them, because this bottom bit here I'll do the old Newfoundland way, the cut and butt thing. But I want to cut this off of here, about here somewhere. I'll take a piece of tape and just zip this off. Just maybe I'll do it in two. I'll have to do it in two pieces anyhow, so maybe I'll do it over to here and down. And so I'll zip that off and see what's underneath here. Then I'll do a little bit bigger piece over here to the end and see what's underneath that. So I'll take them off. I'm not going to touch any of this stuff up here until this stuff down here is welded on, because that would just be looking for a nightmare to happen. That I want to keep some structure in it until I get part of it done anyhow. Okay, that's the plan. In addendum to that, the wire, I ordered some wire on Amazon, and it won't be here until Thursday, but there might be able to get a spool of it in town. So if there's some in town, I'll pick some up and get at it. But anyhow, it's interesting, something interesting. Okay, all for now. Yeah, so here I'm cutting off the bottom of this door, and you might as well see what I'm doing. Now the guys on the internet make it look so like Fitzy. He can go with one hand and goes, well, he's left-handed. It goes with one hand, keeps it straight. I can't do that. I get all over the place. So, but I am being fairly careful. So this to here, I'm going to make it that height there. Can you see that? And then after that, I'll make it this height. So I'm just going to cut it. So I cut it out to that line right there, and then see if that'll come off of there without too much trouble. Whoops. Yeah. So this is in reasonable shape. Not perfect shape, but reasonable shape. I can live with that. And this end here. Don't know what happened there. Uh-oh. Might have made a mess there, but that's all right. Oh yeah, a little bit weak there. This is also in reasonable shape, and that's the old seam sealer there. And what else do we have in the bottom? We have this. We have this. I'll clean all that out with a vacuum cleaner and see where we stand. Okay. Yeah, so this thing here, I'll make some repairs in this, like from here to here, basically. Yeah. And then from about here to actually right about here is all pretty weak. Maybe I'll go from here to here, and then from about here to here, or there. But I can do all that with the MIG welder because it's all, that's normal. That's, well, number one, it won't warp, it's on a curve, and number two, it's not too tough to do that. Okay, anyhow, I'll get at it here, and then, but first, now, here's something else that happened. This, so I sent a note to these guys that scratches happen, and said, do you have this paint code? Because they only go back to 2020, or like, yeah, so they only go back about 25 years with paint colors. But they said, sure, yeah, we can do that. And then there's the color, but I'm gonna just do the inside of the motor, bring the car down, I'll do the inside of the motor, inside of the motor up there, just with this color, just to see see if it's close to the right color. Then we'll, if it's not, then I'll get a different color, right? Yeah, there's coat 1. Wait another 5 or 6 minutes, another 6 minutes, and I'll put another coat on it, and then I'll wait for 6 or 8 minutes or 10 minutes, and I've got some clear coat that I can put on it. Yeah, creature from the Black Lagoon. So that's 2 coats of that paint on there, and then 2 coats of clear. I think this color could grow on these. It's not the same color as the car was originally, but it is a color that I like. What do you think, Paul? Paul's my color expert. And Carolyn too. It's growing on me. We'll just see. Anyhow, that's all of that for now. I'll go and get back on doors. Yeah, there. Now I've made this piece here, and I just put a little tiny lip over the top of it there, just to I'll weld that on the other side so that it's good and finished. And I'll just weld it up here, and I'll weld it up here, and there's another little spot right there. Figure that out. Okay. Yeah, there, that's one there, right? Another one there. There was a little hole there, I just filled it up tiny bit. And one in here, and one in here. Now, this one, like, it's overlapping quite a bit, but I'm going to weld the other side, then I'll grind that off. And same with all these other ones. So I'll weld the other side and then grind off this excess here, any excess that's on the top. So that'll look good, but you know, the only people that ever see it is you. So, and I should just, this is a grinder cut there, I'll just weld that up before I stop. Yeah, I'll flip it over. I've got those all put in, I'll flip it over and then do the other side, right? Now I'll just weld up this inside here, and like along that edge there, and along that edge there, and along that edge right there. See, that's, yeah, that'll work all right. We'll see. Okay, give it a try. Yeah, so here's the other side welded up, and there's a couple of holes there for drainage. Yeah, and a couple of holes there for drainage. And then I found, like in here, there was a bunch of just pinholes, so I welded them around, and it seems to cover them up all right. Pitted on the other side. So now I'll see if I can get this grinded off so it looks good. Then we'll flip it over again and see what's on the other side. There, that's, I'm going to call that pretty good. So the bottom lip of the door is good now. Next is, I'll flip it over again and then clean up those areas where overlapping up above. There, that's not bad. These things here, they're just done right. Well, done. Nothing I do on this channel is right. It's just how I do it, right? So I have to, you can see that this edge here needs a little bit of trimming back yet. Still right here. But for the most part, it's all right. Okay. Yeah, now here's a piece for the door bottom, right? So, how do you make that so you can fit it on there? That's, like I just put a piece of, what's that, 18 gauge in between and clamped it at like that. First I made a bend 90 degrees on the bender. Then I just started it bending over by holding it in the vise, and then finished it off on the anvil over there with a hammer and just hammered it down. Now I haven't got it hammered all the way down. When everything's done, then I'll take a hammer and dolly and give it a good tightening up. But that's sort of the idea, anyhow. Yeah, so here's the second one. Now I got that bent over that far on the bender. So I had it in, let me see, I'll show you. Had it in and bent it up with this thing as far as it would go. It stops about there. And then I just took the hammer and smashed it into there as well as I could. Now, I'll go and I'll put this piece of metal in here. Hang on, I'll show you. Because it's a pretty straight line where it goes there. Right? So put this piece of metal in. Clamp it here once. And at the other end, where's my other pair of pliers? Underneath you. Now I'll go over to the anvil and I'll show you how I did that. Hang on, I'll get it set up here. See, when you do all that bending, it puts a bit of a curve into it, so you just got to kind of straighten it out. But all I do now is start at one end and slide it on. Gently slide it on with my hammer. Where's my hammer? So now the cut and butt will be right along this line here. And then I'll just trim that other one back to that line that I had there. Oh, dear. The only thing that will be different is this back side here. It's going to be slightly different on the two because my measurement isn't quite the same, but I should be able to trim that off to make it look good. It's not getting up into the top of it, and so the cut and butt will be right along this line here. I'll have to sand that back a bit more, and from the line, it's supposed to be 7 centimeters to the bottom, and that's what it is. From the line, 7 centimeters to the bottom. That's what it is. Hey, that's the first time I measured that, so that's good. I guess I'm lucky. Anyhow, now I'll trim this off, and then these are all set to go, and I'll see if I can get some of that welding wire that I want to braze it on there. Yeah, there, that's ready to go. I was going to weld these together and then on the bench and then grind them off well, but I think it's better off to leave them until I get this welded in here, because that way I can make that corner without too much trouble. If I had been thinking, I would have made it on an angle, but I'm not very smart. So anyway, that's all right. We'll get it right. Yeah, there, that paint's dried up now. I think I might like that color. I think I might just go for that color. Let me know what you guys think. It's a 1976 color, and I think it's the color that my car, the one I had in 1982, I think it's the color that it was originally. I had it repainted to another color that was just a bit brighter than the factory color, but that color looks pretty nice. I might just be happy with that color. We'll just see. Okay, that's enough for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, so the welding wire that I want to do the great experiment here with is about 3 days out. I tried to get some in locally here, but they didn't have any in stock. And anyway, that's all right. So I'll just put this aside for a couple of days until that stuff shows up, and then it might work or it might not work, so we'll see. And I also found the correct paint code for this, and I'm ordering another spray bomb of this paint color, and just to see. Like, I don't mind that blue, but it's a little bit too light, I think. Anyhow, so I'll order the new other paint color and spray that stuff up there, see how it looks, and then decide. Maybe I'll spray half of what I sprayed with the other color. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Just spray half of it and then see how it looks. But yeah, I got a helper here today. And there, now this stuff here showed up. Blue Demon welding products. And it's alloy silicone brass, 23 6mm. Now the machine likes to have 8mm, but I guess I'll oh well. Now try this stuff out, make sure it works, see if it does any good for welding on doors. Now Christmas time came, and I got a couple of gift cards. This is what the gift cards bought. These things here, a couple of these, and then some stuff over there for the tool bench. So now I've got one put together, so I've got something to work on, so I can get the other one put together, and I won't have to drag those sawhorses back and forth in here. Oh, now, how do you like that? So see the length, that's the length of it, right? Then this one here is longer, so it won't go together. Oh no. Oh well, I guess I've got to take it back and get it replaced. Yeah, there, I've got the brazing wire all set to go in there, and I'm just going to try a little dab on here and see what happens. Don't know what'll happen. Doesn't stick too well here, not yet, but I think I might have it. Temperature's wrong on it, so I'll change the temperature up and give it another try. So I'll get it going and figure it out. Yeah, there, I did a bunch of testing. Now I have 0.6 wire in here, which it's set at 0.8, so I should be 20% higher on everything I do, right? So I set the thickness at 1mm, because that's how thick this stuff is, or 1.2. And then I got some welds like this one over here. Then as I moved it up higher. Now I've got the thickness at 1.6mm, and I put these both at the highest point, like, so that's 6.7 millimeters and 16.2. Now that kind of like the guy on the internet that I watched, I think he had it at 17 volts, so 16.2 is pretty close. I put it, and then that gives me a weld like that one, or that one, kind of a flat weld, not enough heat under it. And then over on this side, it seems to be like it's definitely attached. I'll show you here. Wait. That is one piece of metal there, or you know, good enough. Like, I don't know if I'd use this for structural stuff, because structural stuff I want to have steel to steel, but using it for just on the door might be okay, and it might keep it from warping so much. We'll find out after I do that, hey? And if it's good, it'll be good. If it's a failure, it's a failure. But I'll show you I'll show you the welding here. Hang on a second while I get set up. Yeah, so here's my piece of metal, and I'm just going to put it up against that like a butt weld. Hold it there, and then I'll weld it. See how it works out. This is like I have experience of up to close to 10 minutes with this now. Get the good bubble at the end of it there, so what about that? That's like 3 tacks, and that's pretty solid. So I'm going to grind that off and see what happens when after I grind it, if there's any strength left in it, or if I grind it out, everything, if it's only a top surface thing. We'll find out in a second here. I'll put you back on, we'll grind. Yeah, it's looking the right spot. Solid as it was. Oh, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to try that out, see if it does any good. Comes out to a nice flat surface. We'll find out. I'm going to go, like, I'm not going to just wait now. I'll get down here. I'm not going to just go all the way along here. I'm going to do it the slow method as I did before, but we'll do the cut and butt on it, and then see how things work. This might work, it might not. We'll see. Yeah, here I am, ready to go. So from that little line that I made down to here, 7 centimeters, down to here, 7 centimeters. Now, another thing the guy on the internet said was to when you're brazing it, try to make it so there's a little bit of sand marks on the metal, like so. I don't know, can you see that? Yeah, you can sort of see those sand marks that I've got on there. Anyhow, then that makes it so that it like adheres better, the brazing. Cool. I think I'm set to go. We'll give it a go, see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? Absolute failure, right? But I think it'll work. I don't know. Doesn't hurt to try something new now and then. Uh-oh. I screwed up down at this end a bit, so I'll have to work that out. I should have been cutting that into there. Oh well. We'll get that sorted out later. Now, so there's the first bit on. I'll show you when I get to be the cut and button business. And those, you know, they seem to be holding all right. We'll just see. Now, if you want to see how to do this properly, where am I here? So I cut this line, like I cut along that line right there. and then lay it down flat beside it. Use that little screwdriver just to more sort of get it flat. And then this bit here I have to fuss with later because I screwed up, but we'll do that. Then after that's done, then you put the weld back on the same spot. And one thing that's happening here is that it's not getting hot, like you can touch it all the time. So the heat's what makes the warping. So and the grinding will be easy on that stuff too, because it grinds really easy. Anyway, so I'll show you this cutting the next one out up to here. So you kind of, like this pot here is still held. That's the original tack weld. That's the original tack weld. This part here is cut to that tack weld. So now you just sort of cut this line here. And if you really want to know how to do it properly, go and see Fitzy's Fabrication, because he's a master at this stuff. And now, like that's nice and flat right there. That doesn't matter. This thing here will just, well, I'll put a tack right there because it's nice and flat right there. Now this one here, I'll just cut that up to the end here and see if I can get that laid down in there. Yeah, it won't lay down until I get this cut out, but that's all right. I'll just put a tack right around here somewhere. Yeah, you can pretty near touch that already. It's amazing how much it doesn't use too much heat. Okay. Slow going process, but it might turn out all right. Now I'll cut out the rest of it over here, and I've got the same issue over here that I screwed up, so I'll fix that as I go. Okay. There, I've got it cut all the way along, and then there's a piece that I cut off is in here. I don't know, can you see it in there? Likely you can see it better than I can. Wait till I'll get some light, hang on. It's all upside down, so here it is here. And that just find a way to get that out of there. You just took it front. That's half of it anyhow, of what I cut off. And the other half is down here somewhere. There it is there. I'll get in there with a screwdriver and see if I can get that. Yeah, so there's the other piece. Two pieces that come off on the cut and butt. And then down here I made a little bit of a mess here, but we'll fix that up later. That might just bend around and look pretty good right there. I'll fix that up later, but I'm not gonna. I'll go ahead and I'll finish welding it on the other side and see what happens if it gets warped or whatever. Okay. Buster is had a prize. I gave him a prize, an old roll of tape, and he went and he hid it somewhere. I don't know where, but he'll remember next time he comes out here. He'll find it. Oh, there, he's got it in his mouth now. I gotta hide it somewhere better. Yeah. Anyway, so I'll turn this back over and see if I can get the welding done. Yeah, there I made a pass. like from here down to the end here. It's still hot down there, but not nearly as hot as when you're welding steel. And it's, you know, it's pretty near cool enough to go now, but I think I set a timer for 3 minutes, and it even welded onto this rust, which I'm going to cut away again anyhow, but I just wanted to see if it would weld on that. Cool. Anyhow, and then once I get it done, I'll grind it off and we'll have a good look at it. So it's going to be slow going. I'll just do the old dab all the way along here, every inch or so, until I get it filled in. But the brass flows farther than steel does. Another thing that this likes, well, you got to keep number one. Got to keep your nozzle about that far back, maybe 3/4 of an inch back, maybe. Otherwise, it'll fire back into it. Then the other thing is it likes to be clean. So the first 3 passes I didn't clean up after, but now I've cleaned it, and I'll see how it works for the next pass. Just clean it with a wire brush. That's a stainless steel brush, which is good for this and aluminum. Yeah, so far so good. Now I turned up the volume, and I turned up the speed, and I turned up the voltage a little bit more, and it seems to lay it down a little bit. Like that right there is new. That's new. Lay it down a little bit flatter, eh? So maybe I'll take some more experimenting with it to get it right. And there's one, like this part here I'm ignoring because it's on the rust. I'm going to cut that out later. This one here, that's the only blow through that I have, and I had a little bit of a wide gap there. So I'll see if I can get that filled on the next pass, and well, or half filled. We'll see. But it looks like we're getting close to being done. And then corners are, as usual, an issue. Corners are always an issue, but I'll see if I can get that sorted out there. Mostly it's looking pretty good, and I don't have much more to weld before I can. I'm looking forward to, you know, first time I've ever looked forward to grinding. See how it worked out. Okay, and if you look down the panel, usually by this time it'd be sinking in. Like this would shrink and shrink in, and it's not yet. So wait and see what happens when I grind it. Yeah, there now. This part here I didn't bother welding, but it's all welded up. There might be a pinhole there, but I'm not going to worry about it right just now. And there might be a pinhole there, but that's pretty good. This hole that I had in here, where it was, right here, it just filled in so happily and easily. So far I'm happy, and it doesn't seem to have warped, and there's no tin canning anywhere, oil can. So it seems that the panel is staying fairly good. This part, you can see here, these parts that are rusted, where it's very weak, they're dipping in a bit, but I think they were dipped in before I started this process. So I'll cut out like a chunk about that big on each one and put in a new piece. It's all around these holes that are in there for holding trim on. Okay, now that's so far so good. I put the timer on for another couple of minutes. I'll just wait till, like, by the time I'm finished down there, this is cold up here, but it's still warm down there. So I'll give it the timer time, 4 minutes, and it's dead cold here. And then I'll go at it. I'm going to go at it with a flapper disc. I won't go at it with anything too heavy, and just see what happens. Okay. Yeah, so here we go. Flapper disc, kind of worn out. We'll just see how it works. I'll go a little bit heavier. I don't know, that that came out really nice. You know, it's not perfectly flat or anything like that, but it certainly is way better than anything I'd ever do with the steel, like putting steel in there. As far as I can tell, it's solid. Okay, well, tomorrow I'll put in these holes here and then see how it looks. Now I'm happy. I'm really happy with that, because look at down the row there. You can't. There's no shrinks at all. So the real test will be in these ones here that are square around. But you have to go real slow with those. So I'll do like one here, and I'll do one here, then I'll do one here and one there. Sort of keep them far apart so that I can jump from one to the other. But so far, look at all that brass grindings. I think I was mining for gold. All that dust. And you know, there's pinhole there, pinhole there, pinhole there, couple along here, but nothing. Boy, that's really nice. I don't know how to tell you, but that's great. Okay. Yeah, so there, that's enough for today. Here's this welder. It's a HZX Vogan. HZX Vogan. And seems to do, and it's not expensive welder. Like it's only like $500 or something like that. And seems to do what it's advertised to do. All right. Now I'll have to get some 30 wire and put it into here, because I kind of rigged together a spool for it on the inside there that would take the 23 wire. It's not set up for 23, it's set up for 30. And likely if I had it on 30 wire, it would react a little bit better yet. That'll have to, so I'll order up some 30 wire and then go from there. Anyway, but I'm happy with that, so see you tomorrow. Bye for now. Here's something interesting. So the magnet will pick up the steel, but it'll leave the silicone behind. So there, see that? Picks up the steel. Where am I looking? Picks up all the steel. And then what's left behind is sand. Okay? Okay, there you go. Okay, here I am back again on the 2002 BMW, or 1976 BMW 2002 on the door. Now yesterday I was pretty pleased with how this all turned out, and I'm still pretty pleased. The it seems to be solid. It seems to be like shrink free, or you know, reasonably shrink free. Now today I'll make, maybe I'll do this one. I think I'll just do them one at a time. Do this one. That'll give some strength back to the door, because you see that's dipped in there. And I want it to be about that. So it looks like I'll have to put a piece in way out to here somewhere. Maybe I'll make it go up like that and across, just below that line there, below that crease line there. And it looks like, I don't know, should there be a bit of a crown on it, right? Anyhow, but before I do any of that, this piece here that I was doing my testing on, it feels pretty solid. I'm going to weld that across the same way I have that thing welded, because this is a piece from the door this is a piece that I cut off of down here. So, and welding it to the 18 gauge stuff. So you see the difference in the sizes there. Another piece. That's where I first started. So I've got it kind of down to where it works pretty good. So I'll weld this up the way that I do, and then I'll grind it off and just see how strong it is. I'm going to give it a bit of a torture test. So here's what I found was best for welding on the panel. Just weld about an inch, like a strip about an inch like that, half an inch, and then skip a couple of inches and go half an inch again. Now this one here, I didn't pay much attention to how much heat was going into it, but it's not really that hot. And over here, it wasn't exactly matched, and you see what happened, it got a burn through. So you got to be careful to make sure that things are lined up nicely. But for the most part, it works pretty good. Now I'll grind this off. I'll have a look at the underneath of this. See where it went through. Aye, aye, aye. Yeah, so it's actually like, you can see the heat on the new metal there. You can't really see the heat on the rusty stuff. And you can see where this one here is kind of a burn through, and a little bit of a dip on the, that one got hot. But now I'll just grind it off and then see how strong it is. I'm not gonna, like, I won't fill in the rest of those there's a gap there and a gap there and a gap here. I won't fill them in just because I don't need to. Yeah, that's ground down more than I would normally. This one here a little bit too close maybe, but I think it's pretty darn good. Like, that stuff there isn't moving. So for the most part, this one here, oh there, I broke that one. If I work at it hard enough, I'll break them. But for the most part, I think we're all right. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. That'll be fine. Wonder why this one here is holding so well and that one there didn't. What's the difference? Well, this one here went right through, eh? So, anyway, I'm pretty sure this is going to be fine. And for an outside, like a panel on the side of a car, it'd be great. As far as structure, like I say, structure is mostly with plug welds and things like that, and good corner welds. So I can use steel for structure because I'm not worried about warping. This here stops the warping. Cool. Yeah, so there's the first hole done. Now I'll be able to figure out where these holes go just by lining that back up to where it was. First I'll put a line through the center here so I know where it is, and then I'll actually drill the hole, or I'll drill a guide hole anyhow. Yeah, there's a bit of a learning curve to it all. Like some holes like that happen because I go too fast or try too much. Anyhow, I'll fill those holes and you just have to take it easy on them with that in 3 or 4 minutes. Now in the meantime, I've cut this one here to fit, and it actually fits pretty good in that little hole. So I'll put a couple of magnets on it and then put some tacks on it. Yeah, I guess I got too much heat into it because I got a real warp right there and another one here, so I've been putting too much onto it. How do I get them back out of it? You can't reach in behind there to do anything about it. Might have to just cut this out, try and then get something up in there to push that back out. Try again. Oh dear. That's disappointing. But anyway, we'll keep on working at it and I'll see what I can come up with. So what I was doing, I was going with like too much. I got overconfident on the heat business, and that was stupid of me. Oh well, we'll go back to trying again. Yeah, I guess it's not all my fault, hey? Because there's a previous repair here that was never... Well, you have to take the door skin off to get that sorted out, right? So I'll just keep taking the Bondo off and then see if I can put it together and make it decent. Oh dear. Yeah, it's nice to know that everything's not my fault, but I guess have to, like, there's lots of Bondo, a big hole, a big dent right here. Now I don't know if I can remove the whole door skin. I could try to. That would be a challenge. That'd be a first for me too. Then fix it. I don't know if I can do that. I imagine I could, but I'd have to just like grind off the edges here and then put a new edge on afterwards, right? I'll think about that. Anyway, but I won't do it right away because I want to get rid of this Bondo here. Just see what I'm into, because it might be a regular long time event for fix this door. Anyway, I am pleased with this stuff down at the bottom here. I'm going to end this video here because it looks like there's another whole video on this door coming up, trying to get that thing put back together the way it should be. So hope you enjoyed it all, and it made some success. Like I'm quite happy with how this happened down here. Not so happy with how it happened up here, but that's the big panels are hard to get right. But we'll keep on trying. So see you next time, and enjoy it all. Yeah, there, I've got it cleaned off, and there's a big wallop right here, and then there was some Bondo in here too, so it must have been a small wallop here before. So it's not entirely my fault that things went to hell there. But now I'll see if I can get this sort of pushed out some. If I can get it sort of pushed out, I don't mind putting Bondo on it, and then I'll see if I can get this to quit oil canning on there. See, that's anyway, but I don't know what I'll do yet, but I'll work on it. So that'll be for next week anyhow. So see you later. Yeah, I'll just add a little bit more on here, and that huge dent that was in here, I've got it mostly flattened out properly, so it's not oil canning. This thing here still needs to be addressed right in there, but I built myself a skinny dolly to go underneath that stuff, and that worked pretty good. So now next I'll see if I can address this stuff here, and we're on the road to recovery, I think. Anyhow, see you later. Well, here I am at the beach, and it's last night. I think it's the 29th of January. A couple of centimeters of fresh snow last night, but you see the ice is starting to cake up now because it's been cold. Minus 17 overnight last night. I don't know what that'd be, like 0 in Fahrenheit or something like that. Anyway, cold, and lots of ice happening. Finally. Now, February is just around the corner, and then might start warming up. Okay, see you later.